Okay.
$7 and here she. Call the January meeting of the Borough Council to order. We all stand for a moment of reflection and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Broad,
Here.
Colaszo, DeBowser,
Here.
Ford, Herring, Kratza, Lancaster, Noel, Smith, Stillman, Taylor, Warnock. 9 present, 3 absent.
Are there any additions or changes to the agenda? There's an executive session listed if needed, but it's not needed as far as I know. In your package, you have the minutes of the December meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve. Second.
Seconded. Was there any discussion, any changes, corrections? Seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries. Similarly, you have the November financial report. Is there a motion to approve that? Is there any discussion of the November financial report? And all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. And this is time for public comments.
What about the December minutes?
The what?
I thought he did the November.
Did the December minutes, and there was not a work session in December, so. Do you want to speak, Jim? According to our rules, state your name and address and limit yourself to 3 minutes.
James Wada, 801 Chestnut Street in Indiana. And thank you for the opportunity to address all of you. And the reason I'm here is I want to ask council that before the meeting's over tonight to perform the necessary appropriate action to direct that the Vinegar Hill steps be reopened and kept open.
They've been closed. It's because of consider.
I can only speculate on that, and I'm not real. I'm willing to hear that.
Of ice. Well, first off, it's now it's not been closed any ice, but.
Beyond that, I understand that the initial reaction is because of inclement weather, but you know, it's the public way. It's I looked on the Borough map. It's an extension of 7th Street. It's the public way, and it should be maintained as the public way. I'm sure I did a little bit of reading up, and you know, there were monies involved there was a Pennsylvania state appropriation. There was a community development block grant involved, PennDOT money, foundation from IUP. but specific to the grants, I'm sure somewhere, I mean, I don't think the grants were awarded on keeping those steps open on a 9-month basis. And I'm sure within those grants, there's probably expectations that are spelled out about usage and maintenance of those steps. And Dawn used to live in Pittsburgh. Mr. Lancaster, I was a 20-year resident in Pittsburgh. Throughout the city, there's hundreds of municipal steps, and I never saw, in my 20 years as a city resident, I never saw city steps closed because of inclement weather. And actually what the city used to do at the beginning, like after Thanksgiving, at certain strategic locations, they would put boxes and people could use that to put, it was a combination of salt and sand, and people could use that if they felt the need on the steps. But I don't see a justification. If the weather is bad, the steps should be dealt with the same as the rest of us. And certainly it's the public way. I live on the corner, I have 200 lineal feet of sidewalk. If I don't feel like clearing it, is it sufficient that I just put a closed sign up? And I don't ask that question rhetorically or to be wise, but I don't see how it doesn't apply to this situation. The technology exists, we have the workers available, and I think the public way should be reopened, maintained appropriately. And if there's a situation where people can't get to it in inclement weather, well, then let's let citizens learn some decision-making skills about, how to make good decisions and how, there's railings on both sides, and it was designed and built with safety in mind, with the landings and so on. And asking though is for council to take action and to direct for those steps to be reopened. And if there's a hazardous situation, for that to be corrected by our workers.
Members of the public.
Gave him some stoppage time because Peter had interrupted him, so he had stoppage time.
It's like the World Cup.
It is. I want to be fair.
Question. Moving on to the committee reports, administration has one action item, which is to list of positions and the nominees.
So our motion is to approve the 2023 appointments. There are 20 appointments with 1 vacancy. So I'd like to move to approve the 2023 appointments.
Administration, well, did we discuss this in the committee?
We didn't talk about this, did we?
I don't think so. So I think this needs a second. Any discussion? There are vacancies.
Out of curiosity, is the what's the qualifications for floodplain manager? I assume that's not just.
Yes, they are. It will be our new planning and yeah.
Great. Okay. So, any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries. All these people are appointed. Is there anything else from the administration committee? Nope.
That's that chocolate.
Development is represented by. You. No, well.
You guys do the meeting.
December.
That in December. All right, moving on. Public safety. Public Works has action items.
Yeah, we do not meet, we have two action items. One is for a project that's ongoing at the wastewater treatment plant. So the motion, I think we do need a second because it didn't come, because we didn't meet. So the motion is to approve to pay application to Hicks Associates for the Indiana Clarifier project totaling $68,548.
The second, I don't think.
It does, but it didn't come out of committee.
Or didn't come out of committee?
No, I think we discussed it, but I don't.
But it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
So this clarifier project is for the sewage?
Yes. Yep. And it's part of a larger project. There's a first pay estimate of probably gonna be two. This comes out of our sewage operating budget.
And there are sufficient funds.
There are sufficient funds in the sewage operating budget to cover it. It's not a nothing. It's sort of, this project is a little bit of an indicator of the age of our system. This is, $68,000 is not no money, but the project is going to be able to be covered. However, this replacement of this clarifier is a bit of an indication of the age of our system.
Is it a type of filter thing or?
Oh, the technical question.
Is this part of some of what you guys have been talking about where there's an overhaul necessary? This is part of that. Okay.
Favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Although I know our solicitor thinks we should do a roll call every time we spend money.
I think you should, but it's in your budget, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
it's in
Then
the budget.
I think you're okay.
Yes, We're not,
As long as it's in your
we're not
budget.
finding new money,
Gotcha.
and you have another motion too.
Yeah, so the second motion is a large motion to approve the engineering services agreement with Stifel and McGraw and authorize council president to execute the same. That's my motion. I think we need a second. So to explain it a little bit for discussion, this is Stifel and McGraw has been the borough's engineer for as long as anybody can remember. I think they do a great job. They do a great service for us. I super appreciate having their presence at public works meetings, not only for the great services that we pay them to do, but also for the sort of knowledge of the industry and being able to point out ideas and opportunities for us. I think they're a great asset for us. The particular services agreement, there are increased costs.
You have that agreement in the packet.
You have that agreement in the packet. I think Sarah, you said them not inflationary, but reasonable, not inflationary increases. I think that's how you qualify it.
Motion is authorizing him to sign the contract, right? Okay.
It's an annual contract, yeah.
And name him specifically, and that's allow you to sign on behalf of all of us.
That's,
So it's an annual contract. It's a total for the costs as listed on the on the contract.
yeah, that is in our budget, but then this isn't like existing money that we had for the other one, so.
I have one last question before we actually. So just for clarity, is that a total that covers the year, or is that a projected rough budget? And then on whatever page the number this is, it explains if they have to do things, it costs X, Y, Z. Okay, so I forget the number, 128,000, whatever it was, that is an estimate.
Harrison, right after the meeting, I did send the engineering cost is spread out through the budget because we take it out of streets, we take it out of sewage operating, they come to the meeting, so that's admin costs. So it's spread out through the whole budget, but I mean, you're looking at 100,000 in engineering costs, but that's spread out among different funds.
Hypothetically speaking, if nothing happened this year, it would be a lot less, right? That's an estimated budget that they're putting forth for the year. And that, because on the last page, there's all these different breakdowns, right? Just for clarity.
Thanks, yes, yeah.
Discussion? Okay, out of an abundance of caution, we do this as a roll call.
Broad. Lazo. DeBowser. Yes. Lancaster,
Yes.
Newell,
Yes.
Yes.
And the only other thing, I guess, for Public Works, I appreciated, Mr. Wada's comments thinking about the usage of Vinegar Hill and whether or not we can review that. If folks are comfortable that Public Works can look at that in June, well, sooner rather than later, I think. And maybe think of there's ways to keep that open when it's,
Start today. So we did, we have, yeah, we didn't have the staff a month ago that would have came down to it.
sort of indicative of sort of this larger issue that. Indeed, I think all of your points are well made, and I think things should be open as much as it can. When it's icy, I would lean on more caution, and when it's super icy and like when it's 0 degrees and salt doesn't work, I would maybe still do that, because I don't necessarily trust the humans to make the right decision there all the time. However, I would like to leave that up to our parks folks, but I appreciate your comment to say that.
I
we should
would
open
add
as
if
much as we can.
maybe we could get a little bit of signage to say, use at your own risk
Yeah.
during the winter times, to make good judgment. I don't know.
They close it, then have a. sign.
Yeah. Electronically, little,
Legal value to have
use
it.
your phone and you scan the icon and.
That's
What's your what's?
ability.
Yeah, it's not gonna absolve you of liability. I mean, it certainly would be, it would be one thing that we could try to hang our hat on and say, listen, we told you. But, the problem, here's the true problem. If you, and believe me, I walked up and down those steps every day of my life growing up, so,
You ever bike down? All the tree didn't get Mayor Hood bike down.
I can't recall if I did. I can tell you I threw water balloons off of them, but that's a whole nother issue.
Yeah.
But the sign really gives you no real protection. But what will give you protection is if the parks people are diligent and use their best efforts. Nobody's ever going to say, well, it has to be 100% perfect. But if they're doing their best efforts and they're being diligent and keeping it as clear and treated, and you document it. So that if somebody did slip, you can say, wait a minute,
Yeah.
Yeah. you have other sidewalks that you have to maintain. Yeah.
Well, if I can ask a question on sidewalks in general, what is the standard for other borough sidewalks? Now, I don't mean in the community. I mean like the main walkway to this building, for example.
I'd like to open it tomorrow,
We just had one. Now we just hired the other person. So
Last year, though. Nobody shoveled the walkway to this building?
It's been closed in the winter for.
No,
the
I'm
last couple
talking
of
about in
years.
general, because the precedent is it's a public walkway that should be treated as other borough walkways are treated by, and by borough, I mean by the staff of the borough, right? Just to close it does feel slightly arbitrary.
Back to this, whenever we talk about IRC Park and Vinegar Hill Steps, we've got to remember the history of it is that the plan for maintenance never worked, right? There was a plan to maintain IRC Park, there's a plan to maintain Vinegar Hill Steps, and that plan never came to fruition over 10 years. And we're only now kind of figuring it out. We've created the Parks Department. We had one person, now we have two people, we had one, now we're back to two again. And quite frankly, this is our first winter. So we're only now really in a position to do it. So the precedent has been, we have closed it out of abundance of caution, probably for most of the, most, and I think actually, I will say for sure, at Public Works, we were sure we were asked, hey, we just need to close this down because we don't have the staff to clean it off and it's dangerous. So we closed it from beginning to end. And all I think we should do is open that conversation again. And the only reason I think we can afford to do it is because we now have people to do it. We didn't have before, and now we do. And so I'm hoping that, folks are all right, that I can ask Nicole to just, manage the thing in accordance with trying to keep it open more. And I again, use a bunch of caution. If it's frozen and they don't get to it, close it. But if it's like today, and they've got,
If
open
it's
it up.
sleeting or snowing, don't use
Sleeting,
it.
snowing, but but salt it, gravel it, right? Treat it.
We're worried about replacing sidewalks? Let's not.
We're talking about a public works meeting.
Guy on the borough council, okay? And he's telling you, don't use rock salt
Exactly.
if you don't want to pay to replace the steps.
It'll be great. Go to Public Works.
We should use the right thing. We should use the right thing, not rock salt. Whatever, maybe just gravel, that's the right thing.
Okay, y'all can attend the next Public Works meeting.
We'll ask you guys to use best practice.
And we'll review that best practice and,
This is a
and
discussion for the Public Works Committee.
Okay.
It's clear that the council is concerned and will take action.
That was a good suggestion.
Anything else from Public Works?
nope, thank you.
Is there a shade tree meeting?
We need
Nope, it was canceled.
the 23rd.
It was supposed to be on Boxing Day, so nobody would have shown up.
Nicole?
One, let's, so we're gonna start off by the Christmas tree pickup began today and it will be going on for the next 2 weeks or so, so if you can pick that up there, Pat. And then we're gonna be advertising for a planning and zoning position. And then also we have 2 vacancies for the zoning hearing board. One's a full-time member for the 5-year term, and then the one alternate, which is a 3-year term. So we're gonna kind of put that out there on some social media posts. So, but if you guys know anyone that's willing to fill those zoning hearing board positions, try to spread the word. So we're looking,
Says what the duties and responsibilities would be.
I believe it's on our website. And they can fill out the form right then on the website too. So,
Advertised.
yeah, we just got the job description signed. So, yeah, actually, it will go out. We're gonna put it out. We're gonna try to, actually, I want to talk to Jen to try to get it over to the IUP, planning department and stuff like that, but, yeah, we'll get it out there. And that's all I have.
Are there questions for Nicole? Moving on, Chief.
Sir, thank you, and thank you to everyone. Thank you for your confidence in me, for your support of staff, and for all that you do for Indiana Borough. It was by all measures, a good year for Indiana Borough through my lens, and so no small part to everyone in this room, and I wish everyone good health, happiness, and peace in the new year. I have December's calls for service with me that did not make your council packet due to the timing of this meeting and the close of December, but it will be included in the mid-months packet. We handled 496 calls for service in December. We conducted 163 school patrols, house of worship patrols, and everything was quite similar to past Decembers. Just in closing, I wanted to extend my thoughts and prayers to the McIntyre family and the community of Brackenridge and everyone that was affected by the tragic events on Route 28. There were a lot of families impacted, police and otherwise. While I'm on that same note, there was a loss in the Driscoll family that was announced this morning, and Dr. Driscoll and IUP are great partners with the Indiana Police Department, so I just want to extend a public condolence to the Driscoll family as well. I have nothing further to report.
Just a quick addendum to what Justin was saying. I think there's gonna be a memorial at Calvary Presbyterian on Friday. Know about that.
I'd like to say thank you to the Indiana Police Department for helping me once again find my dog in the cold, in the snow, out there with flashlight, helping me track him down. He ended up finding him at my house, but he was definitely gone.
Boop's dog keeps getting out too. Please keep him back.
Oh my goodness, this dog, I should rent him out to test fencing, okay? Anyway, thank you I apologize, I do not remember the officer's name. She was very nice and very helpful though. Old names, and I forgot what hers was.
If it were a female officer, yes.
Any other questions for the chief? Seeing none, you also have the report from the IUP representative in your,
Mr. Solicitor. Oh, did you say nothing? No, the solicitor.
Sir, I skipped him. He's so forgettable. I'm sorry.
It took a lot for me to get. I'm still not even cleared to drive till tomorrow. You know, I want to thank the council for, you know, obviously the last 3 weeks I've kind of been off. Although Nicole and I have talked several times and we had a conference call regarding some land development issues with Brenda and things like that. So, that was a good break from my rehabilitation over the last few weeks. But everything else seems to be moving forward and, hopefully we can ask for labor peace and tranquility this year, right?
We can
So,
ask.
well, let's start off on a good note, but, everything else seems to be moving along, with where we're going. So, I appreciate, being reappointed as well. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And I'm sorry,
That's okay.
I had already called up the
Unforgivable.
IUP report and then I got focused on it. And now. IUP report. The final item is the unfortunate death of Becky Driscoll.
We apologize to get her, daughter was in the, emergency room or something, so she's sick, so that's why she couldn't be here.
A report. I want to welcome everybody back. Happy New Year. This is going to be an interesting year with, it's a municipal elections year.
Peter, quick question. So is this year the year preceding the 1-2 ward thing?
Right.
This meeting next year, you will reorganize into 2 wards with a council of 8.
Have 8 by next year or, okay, I wasn't sure how the timing worked out. I couldn't remember.
Wait,
Thank
so
you.
it's not now for the 2 wards, it's a year from now.
Right.
Oh.
Will continue to serve on council. The other terms will be filled in this year's elections.
I'm right on that, Nicole, right? Are we doing the wards this year? 2 wards this year?
No, it's.
As far as the elections go, yes. Yes, when,
But those people don't take office until next year,
Right.
so.
Cause like people like me and you are coming up, cause then in February, we would be filing, correct?
yes, yes, you will file pursuant to the 2 ward system. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Nicole's been-
No.
Kicks in for next year.
For the next municipal election, because you've already been.
Boards are not linked directly, so we could have. Well, it was 2 ordinances, wasn't it?
Motions.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you're wrong on that. I'm saying they're not actually linked. One could happen without the other. We did them both, but they didn't
Oh.
have to,
Yeah.
right? They weren't.
But the preparation for this starts in February, primary, November, and then you go into for the January 2024. Thank you.
I know this.
Deanna Borough.
Yeah, it's been advertised pretty well. I think people know.
Thank you.
If they don't, they go file, they don't.
And that's really all I have. We're ready to go. A year, by next month, we will have done all kinds of things that will make us take a lot longer to have a meeting. Mr. Mayor.
This past month, I had a request from the chamber to create a proclamation for their guest speaker, which happened to be Franco Harris. So I did a proclamation, which we actually named December 15th, the night he was here, as Franco Harris Day, and then we presented him with the key to the city. And I think the most amazing thing I took away from that was the fact that he really appreciated it. You know, and there's a guy that's had a lot of awards and acclimates over the years, but he thought that was really neat. That was on Thursday, and he passed away on the next Tuesday.
Is that key? They get into the city.
I will add that I did hear,
You would be amazed at how nice that key is. Luxembourg's created that.
cool.
And it is very nicely done. And so my point is that I think as we have people that do good things for this community going forward, I think we ought to present them with things like keys or, you know, note a day for someone that starts a business downtown. We might give them a key to the city.
I will add too, after he left I guess the ceremonies there, I do know he had dinner at Naps Cucina Mia. So he stuck around town for a little bit. He just didn't get the presentation and award and then hightail it out.
Really nice.
He did stick around town a bit and make his way around.
Very sad that happened, but we were lucky to have him for the evening. So thanks, that's all.
Mayor. That needs to come before us?
I'm not bored or anything, but
Just in time.
I was covering Center Township as well, so.
Are they more excited than you are?
Actually, the